Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Waze Map Editing Masterclass. We're going to wait for a few seconds for more people to join. In the meantime, we'll be happy to hear from you from in the chat. Say hello, say where you're from. We're going to start real soon, so buckle up. And we're very excited to have everyone here. Thank you so much for joining. For who doesn't know, this session will be held in English. My name is Adas, and I'm from the Waze Community team. So I think we'll start. I hope everyone's here. Today, um, today we're going to talk about the Waze community and get to know the Waze Map Editor, or as we call it, the WME. We will learn how to edit roads, roundabouts, and intersections and places, areas and points. We will also have a very special guest joining us today, a top editor from the US, Joe, who will teach you in real time how to map, so you can use all that you learned here later on and start your journey as a Waze map editor. Joe, would you like to say hi to everyone? Okay, we'll see you next then. If you have any questions, feel free to add them in the Q&A section. That's right next to the chat box. Before we move on to the next slide, I'd like to share a quick poll with you. So please tell us about your editing experience. How many times have you edited in WME? You should see the poll on your screen right now. So please choose the answer that best describes your WME experience. Okay, great. I can see that results are pouring in. Wonderful. So this short poll is here to help us to make sure we're all in the right place. This session will be dedicated to learning about the community and basic editing in WME, the Waze Map Editor. I'm sure anyone listening could pick up a thing or two from this, but please note if you've been using WME regularly for a while now, this session might feel slower to you. We won't be offended if you decide to leave after we finish talking about the community when we start talking about the WME. So, what is that thing we call the community? The editors community is part of the global Waze communities group. So let's see how we differentiate each one. The community is everyone using Waze, right? The most basic layer in Waze community is anyone that uses the Waze app to navigate. Their contribution is smaller, as they are passive Wazers. The second layer of more active Wazers are reporters, people who use Waze to report police, hazards, gas prices, and more. You might have submitted a report through the app yourselves. When you submit a report, one of our dedicated community members or staff support team members reviews the reports and decides how to handle it. Later in this training, you will see how important these map reports are. And then, on a higher activity level, we have what we call the Waze editors community. Community members are intense contributors who edit the map and add more information to it. At the very top 1% of our editors are the Waze champs, local and global, like Joe, who's our special guest today. Their contribution is phenomenal, and I'm sure you'll get to meet them through your journey. Waze map editors also localize new features, such as the toll pricing feature. If you're here, it means you're avid Wazers, so you probably saw the toll pricing feature, which was released about a year ago. This feature was made possible thanks to the editors community, who added both locations and prices regularly. Next time you search for a route and see information about toll roads, know that you're seeing it thanks to a dedicated volunteer, a Waze map editor, who took the time to add booth locations and prices to our map. We hope you choose to become active editors yourself, so you might also get to map those booth locations and prices. Other local features are restricted driving areas and gas station prices. Our dedicated editors community is made of wonderful people who constantly edit the map to keep all the local data updated so that hundreds of millions of people around the world could have a better navigation experience. As Waze map editors, your edits can impact people's everyday drives. There are lots of other amazing communities that contribute to the Waze map. As we said, Waze map editors build and improve maps, fix map issues, and also mentor new editors. The beta community tests new version and new functionalities and provide feedback. They are one of the first to see exciting new features before they're launched. The localizers they translate content and localize features. The Partners Community, which implements bulk municipal changes to the map and also finds leads to connect to Waze. And the Carpool Community, that advocates for carpool and also help remove blockers and onboard new users. All of these are very exciting and vibrant communities. The handout will contain more links for you to learn about more about these communities and even join them if you like. So let's get back to the editors community. We started as a blank map. Waze started as a blank map, and through using the map and online map editors, we were able to build and continue improving our map. The community also fixes map issues and they mentor new editors. The community meets in a couple of different ways, both online and face-to-face when possible. Online, there are forums, emails, chat groups, and webinars. Face-to-face, we have meetups all around the world when travel restrictions permit it. Not being able to meet the community face-to-face since the COVID outbreak made us change plans, and we currently hold various online events, which we hope you'll choose to join. Since COVID broke out, we started a new tradition. We have office hour sessions happening almost every other Sundays. During these sessions, we share updates, talk about features, and answer community questions. We highly recommend you to join. And the link will be waiting for you in the sessions handout. The editors community also take part in exciting challenges, like the MT challenge and map raids. The MT challenge was dedicated to adding major traffic events to the map, such as closures and marathons. Map raids are a joint effort between a group of editors that work together online to improve a certain area on the map. Those are really fun, and you can learn about them in the community forum. After most of these challenges, we share leaderboards and Hall of Fame pages to acknowledge our editors' effort and dedication. Our community members communicate regularly through the forum and over local channels, which are managed by the community and not necessarily by Waze staff. In the handout for this session, you will find links to join the community's channels. Our ongoing communication and events are a really great way to build the community and for people to get to know each other. Many community members share one of the great added values of being a map editor is getting to know new friends from all over the world. Here in the community team, we have several ways of sharing resources with community members. To stay posted on community updates, use the forum and community channels you'll see in the handout. To find information and guidelines, we strongly encourage you to use these resources. There's the Wazeopedia to the left of the slide. This is a knowledge base managed by the community. It contains answers to many editing-related questions and can really help you in your editing journey. The Wazer to Wazer site that is managed by the community team, and just browsing through it, you'll find so much information that you'll find definitely useful at some point. So if you're starting a bookmark folder for Waze map editing, there are 3 sites that should be there: the forum, Wazeopedia, and the Wazer to Wazer sites. Link to all of them are, of course, in the handout. So now, after talking so much about the handout, let's take a minute to download it. Please check the right-hand side of the room. It should hold a file for you to download, so please download it now. If anyone is having trouble downloading it, just please write us in the chat. I'll give you a few seconds to do it. The handout can help you kick off your editing journey since it includes useful resources such as the link to the Waze map editor as per start and the community forums. Slides with common terms you should know as editors, which we'll also talk about during this session. Link to join exclusive online events for the Waze community members. A link to Wazeopedia. Great. So now that you have all the material in hand, please put it aside and you'll be able to use it once we're done with this session. So let's get down to business. Your first step as an editor, which we ask you to do after the session, is to go to the WME. This is the address, waze.com/editor. This address and other useful information is in the handout, so don't worry about writing it down now. If you do not have sign-in credentials yet, you can set up password in your Waze app or log in with the new QR code option. You'll find more information about how to log in the handout. If you are in the Waze Live map, you can click the pencil icon to access the WME and start editing the map. I hope you guys know the live map. It's a great way of checking up on traffic while still at home or at the office through your browser. So now we're going to go ahead and start editing live in WME. For some of you, it will be the first time you see the Waze map. And for that, I'm going to pass the mic to our amazing guest today, our master in Waze map editing, Joe. Joe, thank you so much for joining us. The floor is all yours.
All right, can you guys all see a Waze map editor screen here? All right. So hello, my name is Joe Rodriguez. I'm an editor in the U.S. I'm a level 6 local champ. I've been editing for almost 5 years now, coming up on 5 years in a few months, and I'm very excited to be here. So thank you for joining me. The very first thing I'm going to show is how to create a road in WME. So the first thing you want to do is go up here to the top, and you'll see roads, and you'll have a couple options. And right at this first option right here, click on road, and you'll see our little blue dot here on your cursor. This is where you're going to start adding the road. So wherever you want to start the road, you can click on it first. So for example, I'm going to go down here and add this missing road right here. I'm going to click on this little junction here. And then each time I single click, it adds a little geometry node. So I can draw my road, almost like drawing it on a piece of paper here. And I can keep going. And when I'm ready to finish creating my road, I want to connect it right here. I can double click, and you'll see I'll have my new road right here. Now, there are a couple things I can do before I save. I can save right now, but it'll say there's a couple things I might be missing here. So if you go to the left-hand side here, you'll see we'll have a very nice panel with a couple of different options we can do. The first thing we see is address here. Now, you might be thinking, why am I adding an address to a road? But this is really adding a street name. So in this case, we can add a street name, the city it's in, the state, and the country. In this case, I know the street name, so I'm going to type in the street name, which is Commons Drive. And you can see if it's already created in WME, it comes up as an option here. If it doesn't come up on the bottom here, you're just creating a new name, and that's okay. So I'm going to click on that. And it defaulted to the city Glenview here, but if I didn't know the city, I can just click on none. But in this case, I do know the city, so I'm going to click and make sure it's typed in correctly here. Once I know everything in here is correct, I'm going to hit apply, and now I'll see my name here at the top. The second thing that we can do here is we can select a road type. The default road type in WME is local street, but there are other options that we can use. For instance, a freeway, ramp, major highway, minor highway, primary street, local street, passageway, etc. Your local Wazeopedia has great resources to help you find out which road type belongs in which areas and when to use the appropriate road type. In this case, I know that the appropriate road type is a local street, so I'm going to stick with local street. Our next couple options you'll see here are unpaved, tunnel, headlights required, and near a carpool HOV lane. Some of these options may be grayed out for you depending on your level. For instance, the headlight required checkbox here is for level 4 editors and up. You'll still see the option there in case it is checked off, but you will not have the ability to click on it. So these options are pretty self-explanatory. If the road is unpaved and maybe a gravel road, for instance, you can click on that. If it goes underground for a long period of time and is completely covered, you can select as a tunnel. If you know or see signs that say that headlights are required for this road when usually it is a tunnel, you can check this box here and it will alert drivers while they're driving that they need to put their headlights on. And if you're near a carpool lane or very close to another express lane, this option can help differentiate between which lane is which. Our next option are restrictions. So if you click on the restrictions button here, you'll see a panel and you can add different types of restrictions. For instance, if you're only allowed to drive on the road during the weekends, or you're not allowed to drive on the road during the weekends, you can add a restriction to the road for different times or different days of the week. You can also change the direction of the road. So if you have a road that only goes one way, you can see the arrows are all pointing this one way right now. If you have a road that goes both ways, you can click on two-way, and you can see now all the arrows are gone, and I have arrows at each end of my segment here. The other option you have is you can add a speed limit. If you know the speed limit of the road, you can add the speed limit in kilometers or miles per hour. And then you can also add the lock level, the ground elevation, and after you save, you can add the house numbers. For right now, I'm going to save as is, even though it says I have an error right now. I'm going to save it for now. And there you can see I have my new segment. Now, the last thing I want to do before I finish my segment is make sure my turn restrictions are correct. As you can see, I have a red turn restriction right here. That means that Waze will not route you through this area. So if I want to go out this direction, I need to make sure I have a green arrow here. And same thing on this end, I want to have a green arrow over here. Now we're not done. There's still one or two more arrows we need to add. So if I want to come into this segment right here, let's say my house is right here, I have to make sure I enable this turn right here. And on this side, I want to make sure I have this turn enabled right there as well. Now I have completed my segment. It's routable. I have the name. I have everything I need on it, and I'm good to go. The next thing I want to point out is the environment. Waze has 3 different environments for the WME and Waze in general. You can see right here we have the world server, the North America only server, and the Israel server. Because there's so many users on Waze, Waze has to have a separate server for different areas of the world. So for instance, if you're in North America, like Canada or the US, you're only going to use the North America server. If you're in Israel, you're obviously going to use the Israel only one. And if you're anywhere else in the world, you are on the world server, or what we call the ROW. And you can see that displayed in the URL right here, en-us. That means I know I've loaded a North America only environment, and I can edit anything in the or wherever in North America. The other thing that Waze does is it has a tile system. So the way that we update the map is there's lots of little tiles all over the map that load into the Waze app, and that's how our update system works. So usually about every day or every other day, Waze will run an update cycle on our tiles. And whenever you change something in a tile, it will go to the Waze server and say, hey, I need to be updated. And the next time an update goes through, it'll update that tile and not every single tile, just the ones that need updating. So for instance, if I added this road right here, it wouldn't show up right away in the Waze app. It would still need probably a day or two for the tile to be updated, and then you will see it in the app. The next thing we're going to talk about is adding a roundabout. Roundabouts are probably my favorite thing to add in Waze because it's kind of cool how it does a lot of the stuff for you. So right here, for instance, is an example of where I would need a roundabout. I have a nice circle right here. I have 2 different directions I want to go, and it qualifies for a roundabout. So same thing for adding a road. You go up to the road section here, and you'll see roundabout right here with a little circle. I'll click on it, and I have a little crosshair. Now, I'm going to do it over here on the side here. What happens if I click and hold, I'll have a little circle, and if I drag it out more, you can see the roundabout gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So I can make the roundabout whatever size I need it to be. So if I wanted to make it 33 meters big, I can make it 33 meters big. Now, it didn't make it that time because there were no segments touching it, so this is where it gets kind of cool. So if I have these 2 roads right here, I can add a roundabout without even disconnecting them. So if I go to the roads up here, click on roundabout, I'm going to go as close to the center as I can. That's good there, and draw it just so that it's in the middle of the road where the driver would be. That looks about good there. And boom, it automatically connects the segments for me. I don't have to disconnect them, reconnect them. It does it all for you right there. And same thing for the segment I added earlier. I have all the same exact options over here. I want to make sure I have my address saved. So I know in this case, we don't name roundabouts here in the US, so I'm going to leave it as no name. But I do know the city is still Glenview, so I'm going to type in Glenview. And once I know I have all the correct information here, I click apply. I know the local street is the road type. I don't know the speed limit. It is a one-way because roundabouts are almost always one way, so I'm going to leave it as one way. And now I'm going to go up here, click save, and it's automatically saved for me. And because I had my turns enabled already over here, they're both green, I don't need to re-enable my turns again. They're automatically enabled for me, so it does almost all the work for me, which is really cool. And that's probably why it's one of my favorite things to do. One more thing I want to talk about with this segment here is house numbers. So the really cool thing about Waze is that you can edit wherever you drive. So let's say I'm a new user and I've never edited the map before, and I drive my work with Waze every day. I can edit anywhere within 1 mile of where I drive. So let's say, for instance, I'm driving to work one day, or I have a new job. I'm driving to my office for the first time, and I noticed that when I route in Waze, it's a little bit off. Maybe it's across the street, maybe it's down a block or two. I can go in myself and actually fix that in the Waze map. One way you can do that is adjusting the house number. So if I click on a segment and I scroll to the bottom here, you can see edit house numbers. And right here, it brings me to a new little panel. It looks kind of similar to before, but you can see I have little house numbers over here. So what I can do is I can edit this house number. If I don't think it's correct, I can add a 5 here. Or if I want to add a new house number, I can click on add new house number. And now I have this little circle here. And you can see it also has the point where it would stop you on the Waze app. So if I put it right here, it would direct me to that spot on the segment. So let's say I want to put a new house number here, and I want to call it, and I know the house number is 2870. I type it in, I click off, and it drops down like that. I hit save, and now I have my new house number. And the next time that the tiles update, that house number will be routable. Another way you can adjust a place in Waze is if you search for the place itself. So let's say, for example, I'm over here, and I know this is a community center, but I know it also has a pool. And I want to add that pool to the map. So if I go over to the places icon up here, I have lots of different options I can choose from. And you'll see next to each option, I have a little circle and a little polygon right here. And both have create the same place, but have look a little different. This is called a point place, and this is called an area place. You can see an area place is more of a geometry shape like this, and will actually show up on the map as a polygon, as a grayed out polygon. And then a point place won't show up on the map visually, but you can still search for it. So for this case, it doesn't seem like I have a ton of options, but these are only parent categories. So within these categories, I have more options to choose from. So I can click on point place here. And I'm going to put it right in the middle of my building. And you can see I have the same thing as the segment. I have lots of different options I can choose from here. Now, for categories, I have lots of different options I can choose from there, but I also have more. If I go to the categories, I can click on the space, and you can see I have lots of options to choose from. So in this case, I'm just going to search for pool, because I know I want to add a pool. And there it is, swimming pool. And I know the name here, Splash Landings Pool. Along with that, I can also add an address. So same thing as a segment, I can add the street, but as well, in this case, I can add the house number. So I can add the house number, let's say it's 1234, and the street is Chestnut Avenue. And I hit apply, and now I have my address. I can also add more information like the website, the phone number, and different services they offer, and the opening hours. I'm not going to get too far into that, but you can have lots of different things you can add to make sure that the user knows this is the correct place. I know it's open. I can always go to the website and call, and I know what services they offer. I click save, and just like that, it's right there on the map. The last thing I want to point out is map comments. Map comments are cool features for editors to communicate with each other. So if I see that the satellite imagery over here is not updated and that this street is actually not there anymore, I can go to the comment section and even add an area. And just like drawing a segment, I can single click to make a little box. And when I'm finished, I can double click and I can make a title. Sat view is out of date. And I can make a comment Please reach out to me if you have any questions. And just like that, every editor on the map will see this and they know that, maybe I know something about this place that they don't. Now, we know that the satellite view might be out of date. Whatever you need, they can always read this and know what's going on. The same thing as anything else. Save. And it's right there. A new update that Waze just put out in the Waze Map Editor is the permalink option over here. It used to be down here in the corner, kind of hidden, but now we have a really nifty button over here. So if you want to send this location to somebody else, say you need help unlocking a road, or you want to ask for help in your local forum, you can click on this button here, and right now you can see where the coordinates are currently am and the permalink to it. And if I click Open Sharing Options, I can share this directly onto the Waze forum. So if I want to share this to request an unlock, a map update, or get a road closure, I can select one of the options, and I can click Share, and it will automatically put a post in your local forum here. You can see we have lots of different local forums from many countries. So if you ever have an issue or need help with editing, you can always go to your local forum and ask in the chat there. So for instance, I can go to North America, United States, and I can click on the US unlock update requests, and I can see lots of different requests here from different users, and almost every single one is responded to. So we really do our best to respond as quickly as we can. And that's it for me. Thank you for watching. I hope this was informative. Back to you, Kadas.
I'm just gonna say thank you. Thank you so much, Joe, for joining us, and thank you all of you guys who joined and listened and learned. And we really hope to see you coming to the forum in the WME and becoming part of the community. We're a welcoming one. So thank everyone, and have a great day or evening, whatever time is it for you. Bye.